Welcome to the NBA Pub Hub, Pub Sports Radio, Friday, December the 2nd. Ian Cameron with Skee Profit in the house, and Billy Briz will be along with us momentarily as well, ready to break down the Friday NBA card. It's a massive slate of games as usual at the end of the week on a Friday, so let's get right into it. We'll begin with Washington and Charlotte. We've got the Wizards, 4-point road favorites here, total up to 225 and a half here in this game. The Charlotte Hornets on the receiving end of a team that just cannot stop scoring these days in the NBA, the Boston Celtics, as they give up a 140 spot on earlier this week in their last game against the Celtics, 140-105 on Monday night. We'll see if they can somehow bounce back from that. They haven't played really since Monday night, so it's been a little bit of a break in the schedule, if you will, for the Charlotte Hornets. Now, whether that does them any good is a totally different question you have to ask yourself, because this is a 6-15 team. It's obviously had their issues, no question about that. A team that's still playing shorthanded without the likes of Cody Martin, Gordon Hayward, LaMelo Ball. They remain out for the Charlotte Hornets. It's a team that at the defensive end of the basketball court, you see what the numbers have been, 18th in the NBA field goal percentage allowed, hasn't been great. And then they face now a Washington team, maybe not Boston-like offensively, but they've been pretty good. I mean, 4th in the NBA shooting the ball overall this year. We'll see how they fare, or 13th, I should say, pretty solid there. We'll see if they can keep it going. But again, the Charlotte Hornets, last few games hasn't been pretty for them. See if they can turn things around here in this one against the Washington Wizards. Washington, on the other hand, though, they're not in greatest form either. 1-4 straight up in their last 5 games. Only victory against the Minnesota Timberwolves. Schedule's been kind of tough. We talked about that earlier this week. Miami twice, Boston, and Brooklyn. Betting markets like Washington here, up to -4. I guess I'd lean that way. I'm not crazy about laying a 4 spot on the road with Washington here, but I'd lean in that direction. I'm more interested in the total going up. I think there's a reason for that. I'd much prefer the total rather than the side. I do agree with the move up, 121.5 to 225 in this one. Skee, any thoughts here, Washington, Charlotte?
Yeah, I'm more like fading Washington in this one. They've only won 3 games on the road all year, and they haven't won 1 in the last 2 weeks. They haven't covered 1 in the last 2 weeks. And you have a Charlotte team coming in here with the rest advantage, 3 days to 1. You talked about the Wizards' offense. It's been good. It's been a hell of a lot better than what Charlotte's been putting out there. But their defense has been, bottom 5 last 5 games. And Charlotte, a lot better in that category. Charlotte top 5 defending the 3. And Charlotte's been a better rebounding team last 5 games. So that lands me on Charlotte at home plus the points. The market doesn't agree with me. I didn't get the best of the number, but I'm rolling with the home team tonight plus the points.
All right, liking Charlotte +4. Yeah, I mean, I would definitely stop short and pump the brakes on laying 4 with Washington on the road. That's for sure. Like I said, they haven't had their greatest issues. Do you have enough trust in Charlotte's the question. Boston, Miami, we've got Boston 7-point home favorites here. The total up from 224.5 to 227 in this game. Money has actually come in on the Heat, and it is worth noting Miami didn't cover against Boston, but, they were hanging around for a large part of that game. But, if you're going to give up 134 points to Boston. This is a back-to-back, same 2 teams playing in the same venue. Heat and Celtics going back-to-back here in Boston. Same 2 teams facing each other. If you're going to give up 134 points and give up 46 of 83 shooting like the Heat did, even when you're getting 9.5 points as an underdog, you're going to have a hard time covering. And I think we saw that, obviously, in the matchup a couple of nights ago between the Heat and the Celtics. I mean, what more can we say about Boston on the offensive end of the basketball court that we haven't already said? I mean, they are absolutely the number 1 in every offensive category right now. Points per game, field goal percentage offensively, 3-point shooting percentage, free throw. They're the number 1 free throw shooting team in the NBA. They are just lighting it up. I mean, averaging ridiculous 121.9 points per game, 49.8% shooting for the season from the field, and 40.8 from 3-point range. I mean, it's just a electrifying Boston offense. To me, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I cashed a ticket with the team total over with Boston on Wednesday night when these teams played. Why not go right back to the well with it here in this game between the Heat and the Celtics? It looks like the main 2 guys you count on for this team offensively are both going to play tonight. The Jaylen Brown was a question mark the other night. He ended up playing. And Jason Tatum was just insane the other night against Miami. He could not be stopped whatsoever. Miami's still a banged-up team coming into this game tonight. The movement for Miami is more Jimmy Butler related. Hero is going to play with that ankle issue. Butler has been upgraded with that knee issue that kept him out of the Boston game the other night. So maybe there's people thinking that with Butler back, better chance for Miami to compete, maybe a better chance for Miami to put up some defensive resistance here against the Celtics. But until I see it with my own two eyes, I'm going right back to the same bet I won with the other night. Celtics over 117, their team total. What do you think here, Skee? Heat Celtics?
I agree with you. I mean, it's only failed to hit one time so far at the house this year. They're scoring what? They're averaging 126, a little bit over 126 points per game at the house. So it's just, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You go right back to it. The over at home is 10-2. So if you like Miami a little bit here and think they can contribute, that can also be a way you go. But for me, just sticking with what's been working. Boston team total.
Yeah, and as we talked about, Miami, when they're fully healthy, we expect them to be better defensively than they've shown much of the season. But even that team defensively the other night, I mean, they couldn't contain Boston, give up 134, and all you're asking for from Boston is 118, something they've been able to get repeatedly here at TD Garden on their home court all year. Billy Briz with us now. Billy, we'll throw out the first two games at you, Washington, Charlotte, and this one, Miami, Boston. What do you like?
Yeah, Washington, Charlotte, I lean towards the Wizards. Historically, hasn't been a good spot going into Charlotte, 2-8 last 10 meetings in Charlotte. But it just feels like a spot that's a very short number against a bad team. We kind of did that. I think it was Wednesday with the Knicks and who did the Knicks play? They blew them out. They're like 4-point favorites.
Oh, on Wednesday? Yeah, Wednesday. I'm blanking on it too. I'll check. Just one sec. Million sports going on. You're trying to remember. Yeah, Milwaukee on Wednesday night.
The game before Milwaukee, they played the Pistons. It seems like a short number, man.
Yeah.
But, I mean, a lot of the favorites have really been covering these last couple of slates, so I don't want to get caught burnt back in the Wizards -3, but I would definitely heavy lean towards the Wizards. This one here, I think you guys hit it nail in the coffin. Boston team total or nothing here. I will say, though, that game was a little bit closer than what the intended box scores ended up playing out. Fourth quarter was a little bit closer, but Boston team total has just been hitting and it continues to hit, and I don't see anything that's going to stop them from hitting it.
I mean, it's been automatic with Boston. We'll see if it is once again tonight here in this one. All right, we got the LA Lakers, Milwaukee Bucks. Milwaukee 8.5, 9-point home favorites here. The total up from 228.5 to 230.5. Obviously the Lakers, it's just a hard team to figure out. 8-12 straight up. They're 2-6 straight up, 2-6 against the spread on the road. They had that absolutely brutal meltdown against Indiana, and then they bounced back 2 nights later. They beat Portland 128-109, 6-point favorites. Portland was on a back-to-back, so I don't know how much credit you want to give the Lakers, but at least they hung on to a lead this time, so you got to start somewhere. But now you're going on the road. You're facing Milwaukee. I mean, let's be honest. The schedule's come up light. It's been pretty much sisters, even with Indiana playing better than we expected coming into this season. It's really been a light schedule other than the game against Phoenix for the Lakers in their last 7 games. They played Detroit. They played San Antonio 3 times. They've played Indiana. They played a shorthanded Portland team on a back-to-back. It's not like they've played anybody great other than Phoenix during this time. Now they got to go on the road, face the Bucks, who have won 3 in a row, beating Cleveland, Dallas at home, and then they went on the road. They took care of business against the Knicks. Might have covered, depending on where you got the number. It was right around the number. They won 109-103 in that game. Looks like tonight, from an injury standpoint, Chris Middleton, by the way, probable with the wrist injury. We have not seen him play yet this year, but looks like he is on pace to make his season debut tonight for the Milwaukee Bucks. So huge news there. Chris Middleton, it seems like him and Giannis have been joined at the hip for years as the stalwarts of this Bucks team. And to have Chris Middleton back, certainly huge news for the Bucks. As far as the Lakers go tonight, you always have to check their status of their players. Looks like LeBron's in. Looks like Anthony Davis is in, as you'd expect. Marquee game taking on the Milwaukee Bucks. Lonnie Walker, foot injury. He's been upgraded to probable as well for the Lakers. But it's probably Bucks in the over. If I were to get involved, those are the 2 ways I would go. Skee, I have not talked to you or heard from you, Skee, since Monday, since that Indiana game. So if there's anything you want to get off your chest, now's the time.
No, I'm leaving that alone. I already had, a whole week to to deal with that. But Lakers, I still feel like they've been playing good enough basketball to come and try to back them here. And the one place they've been consistent is the first half. They're 15-5, I think, on the season. They've won 9 of their last 10, and they've won 5 in a row. And for this Bucks team, you have Chris Middleton coming back. You never know. Getting back in that lineup could mess up the rhythm. He could be a little rusty. For the start of this game, Bucks are 1-4 against the spread. Their last 5 first halves, 2-7-1 the last 10. I think the Lakers first half +5 is the way to go in this game.
All right, liking the Lakers first half here, and it's probably the right way to go. We've had some ugly finishes to games at times for the Lakers this year, and we've seen Milwaukee actually slow in the first half and then just wake up in the second half. So both team angles kind of fit. Lakers better in the first half, kind of Milwaukee better in the second half. So definitely makes some sense. If you like the Lakers, I think you'll like them earlier rather than full game. What do you think here, Billy?
I kind of lean towards the under 229. I actually know 230.5 now, but this total seems really high. I get it, the Lakers second fastest paced team in the NBA, but the Bucks have really slowed things down. They have the 5th slowest pace. They get Middleton back. That could take a game or two to get it together. But, man, they're baiting me into it, man. I got burnt last time taking it. But Lakers first quarter team total over 26.5. Always note this for the Lakers. They are the highest scoring team in the first and second quarter in the whole entire NBA. And this total seems really low, man. 26.5 at -130. I'm going to hop up on it.
All right, we've got Denver, Atlanta next up here. Denver, 3.5-point road favorites, 228 being the total in this game. A lot of concerns and question marks on the Atlanta side of the fence in terms of injuries. My goodness, it is a laundry list, and that's why there's been this huge move toward the Denver Nuggets here. DeAndre Hunter out, Justin Holiday out, John Collins out. Trae Young's now downgraded to questionable as he's battling injury. You've got the center position, the 5 spot could be massively depleted for the Atlanta Hawks tonight with Clint Capella, a game-time decision. Frank Kaminsky also may not play. You could be down to Onyeka Okongwu basically tonight as your lone 5 spot guy off the bench here for Atlanta. That's not good news when you're facing Joker on the other side of the equation here for the Denver Nuggets. So you could understand why this could be a matchup nightmare for a very short-handed Atlanta team. That being said, Jamal Murray's just popped up on the injury report here the last few hours. Not that he's out for sure, but he was expected to play, downgraded to questionable / game time decision with a quadriceps injury going into.
It could be one of those cases, though, Babano, where the Hawks have all their players on the injury report and the Nuggets are like, oh, we want to start a couple on. It could be fake news.
Yeah, it could be. You always have to watch out and wait right till tip off. You get a lot of head fakes in this league, more than any other in terms of injury reports right up to game time. So be careful with this. I know Skee has voiced and typed his displeasure on Twitter about this injury nonsense here with the NBA. Drives us all nuts. We all have to deal with it. That's the good news. It's not like one person has to handle this handicapping NBA every day. We all have to deal with this shit. So that's the good news. Nobody's only dealing with this themselves. I could only take Denver, but, it does give me pause that you see Murray show up. But definitely, if Murray plays, even if he doesn't, who's going to guard in that front court Jokic tonight from the Atlanta side? And I'll be honest, I took a shot here earlier in the week here, fading Denver a couple of times here with the Houston Rockets, and I got my head caved in twice. I thought, okay, Houston's been covering a bit. They didn't cover the first game, but surely Denver's not going to be interested the second game to blow out Houston again, and they blew out Houston again. So definitely not in a rush to fade Denver again. Denver or nothing for me. Skee, what do you think here?
Yeah, I think you have to look towards Denver, especially if this Atlanta team is without Trae Young and, their bench is already thin. In Denver, I really want to take them first quarter, but it's conflicting stats because Hawks have been good early in the game. So I don't know. My thought process really is if you don't have Trae Young, you're missing John Collins. You're just missing a lot of talent in that starting lineup. I think Denver should be able to take advantage of that in the first quarter. And then, honestly, the first half too, because the second unit is going to be better than the Atlanta second unit. I just think or hope if Trae Young is out, they wouldn't look at this game like, oh, we're just going to win. And meanwhile, on the other side, you have guys that are going to play hard. So I'm not sure if I'll get there but lean Denver here.
All right, leaning Nuggets, but hasn't pulled the trigger yet. Skee with the Denver side. Billy, what do you think?
Yeah, riding with Mile High, man. This is my favorite spot on the card today. The Nuggets lead the league in road wins this season, winning 6 of their past 8 games on the road. Nuggets will be without Michael Porter Jr. for this one, which should help Jokic's numbers even more. He's averaging 27.6 points per game and 11.4 rebounds per game without Porter. With Porter, he's averaging 20.8 points per game and 9.2 rebounds per game. The Hawks are allowing 52.7 points per game in the paint, which ranks 24th in the NBA. And they're going to be without John Collins tonight. You guys touched on it. The Nuggets have been the best team to back as favorites, winning 12 out of their 17 games as favorites. I like the Nuggets first half full game, but I'm just going to roll with the Nuggets full game here and a little sprinkle on Nikola Jokic over 24.5 points.
All right. Next up here, we've got Toronto, Brooklyn. Brooklyn 1.5 point home favorites, 223.5 the total in this game. We've got the obviously Brooklyn Nets a little bit dealing with injuries, but mostly it's Ben Simmons is the main one. A lot of the other players that are banged up are just depth players at this point. Ben Simmons still out. Looks like they're going to have Kyrie, Joe Harris, Royce O'Neal, Kevin Durant, and Nick Claxton as their starting 5 tonight. Still Achua and Porter out for Toronto. They're getting much healthier. That being said, I don't know what happened to the Raptors. I'll tell you what happened to the Raptors against New Orleans. They played their worst defensive game in a long time. And look, the one thing New Orleans has is Zion and a little size in the paint, and that's the one thing that can counteract Toronto. Usually Toronto's a good rebounding team. They've got that length. They've got that size. They couldn't outsize, outlength, and out-battle on the glass a team like New Orleans, and combined with the fact they didn't play great defense, and it was a blowout in favor of the Pelicans there. And that's about as angry as I've seen Nick Nurse in a long time after that game, saying we just decided not to compete defensively. He said it's very disappointing. So very critical. He's not very critical publicly of his team very often. It's one of the few times I've seen him like steam coming out of his ears. He's not happy. So do the Raptors respond tonight in a positive way after that loss to the Pelicans? I would think they would. I was kind of hoping for better number, right? Plus 1.5. It's not like they basically have to win the basketball game. They've been good in Brooklyn. 5 of the last 6 Toronto has covered at Barclays Center in Brooklyn. So Toronto, definitely I lean in that direction. It's just I was hoping for a few more points, but certainly if I'm playing it, I'm taking the Raptors side. What do you think here, Skee? Raptors net.
Yeah, I didn't feel too strong about this one. My initial thought was to play Brooklyn here just because I feel like they've been playing really good basketball lately. They've won 4 home games in a row. And the Raptors, I think they're something like 3-8 on the road. So that was my initial thought. I didn't play the game, and the number started to move against Brooklyn. So I was just trying to figure out why. And it looks like I'll probably stay on the sideline for this game.
All right, a pass for Skee. Billy, how about you? Raptors Nets.
Overall, I think I would lean towards the Raptors full game spread wise. I know Brooklyn's put some money in our pockets of recent, but it just seems like a sketchy spot here. But I think the player prop market is the way to go here. My guy Pascal Siakam had one of his best games of the year this year versus the Nets. The first time that they played, he had 50 points, rebounds, and assists. So I like his over 35.5 points, rebounds, and assists. He's gone over 7 out of his last 11 games with 3 straight L's, unfortunately, but that was due to coming back from injury and then 2 games in tough matchups versus Cleveland and New Orleans. Players like Kuzma, Panchero, and Grant have recently torched the Nets in their past 3 games. So Pascal over points, rebounds, and assists.
Yeah, Pascal Siakam. Again, anybody against the Brooklyn front court is not a bad option. There's no doubt. All right, next up, we've got Orlando, Cleveland. Cleveland laying a big number here, 10.5 point home favorites, 217 the total in this one. I do not bet against Cleveland very much at all, and certainly not at home. I mean, 9-1 now, the mark for the Cleveland Cavaliers on their home court. 9-1 straight up, 8-1-1 against the spread at home. That being said, this is different point spread range here. We're talking 10.5. We're talking maybe a bit of a flat spot for Cleveland after a big win against the Philadelphia 76ers, and it was big. I mean, I like them as my best bet on the show on Wednesday, taking the Cleveland Cavaliers -3.5. You know, I love that side. I thought it was a cheap line. I didn't think they'd blow out and lay waste to Philadelphia, though, like that. 113-85. Nice to have an easy one like that for the best bet. And like I say, I love this Cleveland team quite a bit. I mean, I like their backcourt, you know, and the funny thing is, you know, what they did last game was very impressive, without a doubt. But even more impressive is that Jared Allen didn't play. Still ended up doing that to the Philadelphia 76ers in that Wednesday night game. So I ain't stepping in front of Cleveland, but you know what I mean? This is not a spot where you get that 48 minutes of effort from Cleveland, focus to drill what's a pretty bad or Orlando Magic team that's 5-17 straight up. They're 1-9 on the road. I mean, they've been absolutely abysmal on the road. They haven't been much better ATS on the road either. 3-6-1 ATS. Orlando comes into this game still battling, a decent amount of personnel issues with Suggs out, Wendell Carter still out. Mo Bamba's a game-time decision. Same with Jonathan Isaac. Cleveland are passed, but, I think I'm going to pass. This is not the night I'm going to jump on Cleveland, laying a bigger number, maybe a bit of a flat spot after the big win against Philly. What do you think here, Skee? Magic, Cavs?
I was liking the under in this game. Cavs playing at the slowest pace the last 5 games, and Magic also bottom 10 in pace. And you have the Cavs, even without Allen, he's missed the last 4, I think. The last 5 games, they're the number 2 defensive rated team. And so he's missed 5 games this season. 4 out of those 5 have gone under, averaging around 209 points, I think, per game. So I'm liking that. I look a little bit more at what's been happening in the last 2 weeks for both of these teams. You have Orlando 3-1 to the under. You have Cleveland 4-1 to the under. Oh, my bad. Orlando 3-1 to the under on the road, and Cleveland 4-1 to the under at home. So I just see a real slow pace, lower scoring game here, and that's the way I played it, under 217.
The guy that's been called up from the G League too and is getting minutes now, and he actually started in that front court against Philly, Mamadi Diakite. I remember seeing this guy play with Virginia. He can make some shot. He hasn't shot the ball high volume, but he's made his shots. Give them a little impact in the defensive and rebounding categories. I mean, he's done well. They're trying to fill that spot and that void left by Jared Allen's absence, and did well the other night against Philly. What do you think here, Billy?
Yeah, backward for me. The Cavs have been good at home this year, 10-1 ATS in their last 12 home games. Magic have just fallen off. If you're going to take the Magic and the points, it's usually in that home dog role. They're 3-8-1 ATS in their last 12 road games, and they haven't really shown a sign of urgency where I want to put money back on them. They have lost their last 5 games by an average of 16.5 points. So the number is about right. So pass backward for me.
All right.
All right. I think that's our first backwood of the day, too. Look at that. It took a while, which it usually does when Dutch is not in the house. All right. Philadelphia and Memphis. We've got Memphis 5.5 point home favorites, 217 the total in this game. You got the Grizzlies, who are at home, where they have a pretty good record this year, 7-2, straight up 6-3 against the spread on the home court, playing some pretty good basketball here for the most part. Memphis, especially at home. But you look at the Philly side of it, they got absolutely destroyed. They got whipped by Cleveland, as we just talked about. It looks like Tyrese Maxey, James Harden still out. Tobias Harris now showing up as a game-time decision due to an illness. So we'll see if he is able to go. If he's not in, I should say, you'll probably see guys like George Niang get more court time, among others, for the Sixers here tonight. But keep an eye on that. Philadelphia, the last few games, if you actually look at their recent results, when they've had a loss that's not been good, they played better the next time out. We've seen that lately. The Knicks game, they lost by 2. They bounced back. They beat the Suns 188. They lost to the Raptors. They beat the Raptors the next time out. They lose at Atlanta, and then they win and cover home to Atlanta the next game. They lose to Minnesota at home. They beat Brooklyn at home the next game. They lose at Charlotte. They win and cover at Orlando. They've been very good in this off a straight up loss type of situation the last few games, Philadelphia. So I kind of want to back the Sixers actually as plus 5.5 point road underdogs, but I'm going to wait to see the status of Harris here in this game. Make sure there's nothing else that surprises me last minute. But I think spot wise, not a bad setup here for Philadelphia. And certainly you would think better effort required after getting a steamrolled by the Cavaliers the other night. Skee, you like anything here? 76ers and Grizzlies.
No, I hate this game, man. It's a backwood for me.
All right.
All right, backwood for Skee. How about you, Billy? Philly, Memphis.
The Sixers will be out. We will be without Maxey and Harden and potentially Tobias Harris. I don't think Harris is going to play. Embiid has dominated the usage and should continue tonight. He's gone over his assist prop in each of his last 6 games, leading the team to potential assists. The Grizzlies allow the most assists to the center position in the NBA. Embiid's been averaging 6.8 assists per 32 minutes without Maxey and Harden on the floor. So we're going to take Joel Embiid over 4.5 assists at -140 tonight.
All right, next up, we've got New Orleans and San Antonio. Pelicans, 7-point road favorites, 232 the total. I'm laying it with New Orleans. I mean, I remember doing this, making this bet in this very same spot. I believe it was on a Friday night, or it was on a day when I was on the show. They were laying, I think, 5.5, 6, maybe a slightly less number than this at San Antonio. They won by 19, 129-110. There's no redeeming qualities to betting San Antonio right now. There's just not. This is just an absolutely brutal stretch of basketball for them. They've lost 9 in a row. They've only covered once during that span. The Lakers pummeled them twice. Like I said, the Pelicans already beat them by 19 here in San Antonio just a couple of weeks ago. They couldn't even beat the Thunder the other night with SGA out of the lineup. You know, that tells you all you need to know right now with the Spurs. They lose to OKC minus Gilgeous-Alexander. Hey, Charles and Shaq, work on pronouncing the guy's name properly, will you please? That was embarrassing the other night. Guys had a great season, might make the All-Star team, can't even get his name right. Come on, figure it out. But nevertheless, San Antonio not playing well, can't even beat OKC without Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. The only thing that would concern you is complacency. You know, for New Orleans, they've won back-to-back games against Toronto and OKC. Now going on the road, they do face Denver for a big home game Sunday night. But it's not a back-to-back situation. I think they still take care of business. There's just no way they're going to be able to contain Zion in the low post tonight in this matchup. I think it's going to be certainly a game that they should be able to take care of business. And it does look like, believe it or not, CJ might actually be – yes, he is. He's coming back tonight, returning to the lineup after a 4-game absence, CJ McCollum for the Pelicans as well. So I'm laying it with New Orleans. San Antonio, the betting markets are still not pricing this team nearly as badly as they appear to be. What do you think here, Skee, Pelicans, Spurs?
Yeah, I betted that last matchup. It was some kind of situation that favored the Pelicans, but really the Spurs have just been playing bad basketball lately. So I probably would only look towards the Pelicans, but it's not going to be a game where I get involved here.
All right. Yep, nothing. It's kind of feels like that kind of game. Pelicans are past. It's a question of, do you want to lay it? Billy, what do you think?
Backwood, man. This ain't it.
All right. Yeah.
All right, we move along now. We've got next game on the slate, Houston and Phoenix. Phoenix Suns, 11.5-point home favorites, 229 the total. All right, no more Houston in these what we think is decent spots. Road underdog, catching double digits against a much better team. I ran into that problem twice with Denver earlier this week and paid the price for it. I'm not doing it again here with Houston. Probably not going to take Phoenix, though, either. Although we know at home they've been terrific. 12 out of their 13 home games they've won. They are only 9-4, though, against the spread at home. So there's been some instances where they've won, but they've not covered at home, like Detroit, like the Utah Jazz. 2 games where they were bigger-sized home favorites. They did not cover, though. They won by slim margins. They did beat up Chicago 132-113 in their last game, playing some good basketball at home. But, you know, you're laying a big number here with them. Chris Paul remains out still for the Phoenix Suns. Yeah, I'm done trusting Houston as double-digit underdogs against better teams. They've let me down twice, not taking them here. Probably going to pass when it's all said and done. Skee, what do you think here? Rockets, Sun.
Yeah, I think, yeah, I'm with you. It only took, yeah, Marcel knows. He says he sees me sweating the EuroLeague game. The last time Houston played Denver, I learned my lesson. Them boys is tanking. The coach Silas or whatever his name is, man.
Yep.
He didn't even play the starters the fourth quarter. Like, they didn't even play 30 minutes in that game, and the game was close at halftime. So that just tells me you really are not even trying to win in these games. So that's not a team I want my money on. So if I guess if you like Houston, maybe look towards them first half, but don't trust them to even try to win the game. So I guess I would look towards props here. I know KPJ has been good on his rebounds, over 4.5. I think he's hit that 16 to 20 games so far this season. And also, my boy Wham's not here, so I gotta mention it for him, Jabari Smith. I know how many times he's been cashing that.
Yes.
I don't know what the 3-point prop number is, but I know that's what he's been betting, and it's been plus money, and it keeps winning. So one of those 2 props would be the way that I go.
He's mentioned that a couple of times when he's been with us on Mondays here on the NBA Pub Hub, Jabari Smith, and taking advantage of that 3-point prop. So something to consider here with the Rockets and the Suns. All right, what do you think here, Billy?
Yeah, we're going to go to the prop market here. Jalen Green's been averaging 29.4 points, rebounds, and assists for the Rockets, but he's struggled on the road so far this season. In 13 road games, Green's point, rebounds, and assist average drops to 27.1, and he's gone under in 9 out of 13 games, shooting an awful 37% from the field and 30% from three, compared to his at-home averages, which is 50% from the field goal range and 40% from three. He'll most likely will be guarded by Mikal Bridges. He's one of the better perimeter defenders in the NBA. In their first matchup in October, he shot 2 for 7 and only had 18 points, rebounds, and assists. So my favorite underplay tonight is going to be Jalen Green under 29.5 points, rebounds, and assists at -130.
All right, we got Indiana and Utah next up here. Jazz 5-point home favorites, 4.5, 5, depending on where you look. 238.5 being the total in this game. Indiana Pacers, look, they had the buzzer beater, of course, the other night against the or early in the week against the Lakers, courtesy of Andrew Nembhard there, and figured it against Sacramento. We were all on it, especially Dutch and company, that said Sacramento, definitely maybe take advantage of Indiana coming off that miraculous comeback win against the Lakers, and Sacramento laid the smackdown. It was a great spot for the Kings. They took advantage of it, 137-114. They blow the doors off the Pacers the other night. Now I think it's Indiana's turn to bounce back. Indiana's been pretty good off a point spread defeat. They've been very good. You look at the Orlando game, they don't cover, and the rematch against Orlando, they do. They lose to Minnesota. They bounce back. They beat Brooklyn outright as underdogs, 2-point favorites. They lose to the Clippers. They come back, and in the fourth quarter, they rally against the Lakers. So they've been good in bounce back mode here, the Pacers. And I'm not ready to lay 4.5, 5 with the Utah Jazz, even after their 125-112 win against the Clippers. They caught the Clippers, massively shorthanded on a back-to-back. It's a perfect spot for Utah. I think Indiana brings a much better game after they looked bad and got blown out by Sacramento. So I like the Pacers here plus the points. Skee, what do you think here? Pacers, Jazz?
Yeah, me neither, Marcel. I can't believe it either, man. But Pacers, I need to know if Halliburton's going to play. I think he had a groin injury or something. So if there's no Halliburton, there's no Pacers for me. I know the Jazz also play tomorrow, so I really want to fade them. They're 2-4 as a home favorite. And Pacers in general, in November, they were playing good basketball. So lean Pacers. But if Halliburton's in, probably just look more towards his assist prop. I know he sold on his last game, him and Sabonis, but we'll probably go back to Halliburton assist if he's in.
All right, yeah, Halliburton game time decision with that groin. I think I'm going to bet the Pacers regardless. Obviously, if he isn't in, you'll get a better number. They'll bet Utah, and you'll get a better number. T.J. McConnell is not Ty Halliburton.
Andrew Nembhard.
Get that? Yeah. But
I love Nembhard too, but he's not a Halliburton either.
No, I think he would start though. If Halliburton were to miss, I think Nembhard would start over McConnell.
I think he's earned it after what he did the other Monday night. I think you've got to give him a look and definitely give him that opportunity. I definitely like Indiana regardless, but obviously anyone that likes Indiana in this game would rather have Tyrese Halliburton on the court. There's no question. Billy, what do you think here? Pacers, Jazz?
I don't think Halliburton's going to play, man. Those groin injuries, I mean, he popped up on the injury report like a week ago, and it was about an ankle injury. It's a different injury. Groin injuries are nothing to play with. Regardless, you've seen a lot of these spots where teams lose a couple players step up, and they cover, but my money won't be on it. No Halliburton, no Billy, no Pacers here for me, Backwood.
All right. Yeah.
All right, final game here of this NBA slate for this Friday, Chicago and Golden State. Golden State 7.5 point home favorites, 237 being the total in this game. Chicago is just like, if you're a manic depressive, don't watch Chicago Bulls basketball. I mean, it's basically all over the place. It'll have you go batty and goofy and all this shit. I mean, they could beat Milwaukee one night on the road, beat Boston, just dominate a Celtics team that's just crushing everybody right now offensively. And then they turn around, they lose to OKC They lose to Phoenix Suns, not even competitive in that game. They do beat Utah on the road, but again, we know Utah is basically kind of coming back down to earth here a little bit. Golden State, on the other hand, they have won 3 of their last 4, did lose at Dallas in the last road game that they played, 116-113, but the theme remains prevalent, as we've talked about all season long with this team at New Oracle, where they're 9-1 straight up, 7-3 against the spread. They've just played outstanding, lights out at home for the most part. Wins and covers lately on the home floor against Utah, the Clippers, the Knicks, the Spurs. Pretty impressive performance. Chicago's probably better than a couple of those teams, but I don't trust the Bulls anywhere close to enough to take them against a team that just is playing their best ball all season, start to finish here at home. Doesn't look like there's anything significant in terms of injuries for Golden State or absences. Looks like everybody will be on the floor and playing for the Warriors. Curry, Thompson, Wiggins, Green, Looney, all going to be in action tonight. So there's no way I would be looking to take Chicago here with Golden State all hands on deck tonight, and off a loss as well against the Dallas Mavericks. Skee, what do you think here? Bulls, Warriors?
Hey, remind me, Babano, I don't know if I'm mixing this up with another game, but do the Warriors play tomorrow?
Do the Warriors play tomorrow? They do play tomorrow at home against Houston. No travel, hosting the Rockets tomorrow.
Okay. The no travel, I think, is a big deal right there. And you guys know how I feel. When the Warriors lose and they're at home, you got to back them. That's when they come to play. And it's like a little bit of redemption kind of thing for them. They've won 21 of the last 22 games in that scenario. They've covered 16 of those 22 games. And the Chicago team, it's just a bad matchup for them. They're second worst defending the 3. And you're going up against Golden State, Steph Curry. Come on, man. As long as them boys care about this game at all, I think that they'll get it done in the first half, and I think they'll get it done in the full game. A lot of the contrarian bettors are going to bet the Bulls because the public's on the Warriors, but I don't think it matters. I think the Warriors are the right side. The Bulls are 1-9, their last 10 first halves on the road, and Golden State, I have them as 4-1, their last 5 at home, and 7-3, their last 10 at home. So I like them first half. I like them full game. I'm going to roll with Golden State every time at home off a loss, as many times as I can.
I mean, it's just the sweet spot betting angle that you've talked about that's been winning more often than not, and that's Golden State. You're right, off a loss at home, and that's what you got here tonight against a team they're better than as well. Throw that into the mix. What do you think here, Bill?
That don't feel like a lot of points, though, Skee.
Nope. Golden State. I mean, oh, my bad. The trend that I gave is when Golden State is off a loss at home as a favorite of 7 or more. So nope.
Okay. I mean, I don't see how you cap this game. Look at the historical trends. I mean, the Warriors have won 10 straight games against the Bulls. I mean, how do you not back the Warriors here in this spot? The only way you could back the Bulls here is by saying, I mean, you can't win the 11th straight. I mean, the shit got to change eventually. I mean, I historically, that hasn't been the best spot for me betting money-wise. I kind of want to bet with the numbers here, and the numbers are saying the Warriors smack spot, and I don't disagree with it, man. I don't know if this is going to be on my card pre-flop, but, some things start rolling right on these East Coast games. We start rolling to the nightcap and a couple blunts in me. This might not be a backwood. This might be a Warriors smack spot.
Yeah, it definitely. I think we're all in the same boat. We're definitely not all that excited about the Bulls here. We'd be looking Warriors or nothing here with the nightcap here, Chicago and Golden State. All right, that is the Friday NBA slate. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Let's run up the like button. 207 live viewers right now. Hit that like button. We appreciate it very much. Let's end the week on a strong note. Get that like button. Hit that like button. Show the support. We've got lots of great content this weekend here at Pub Sports Radio. Got UFC back in action on Saturday, so make sure you tune in for that. We've got Dabby Cab doing a live bet stream with Razor Sharp tonight for the Utah USC Pac-12 College Football Championship game, so make sure you tune in for that. Tomorrow it's College Football Pub Hub with me, DJ Big Boss, Big Ragu, and Connor Mack. And, of course, coming up at the top of the hour, it'll be me and Connor Mack for college basketball net profits. So make sure you stick around for that. Big weekend here at Pub Sports Radio. NFL Pub Hub, Sharpie's NFL show as well, Pub Zone, NFL live betting stream, Sunday Night Football, Monday Night Football. Big weekend here on this channel, Pub Sports Radio. And make sure you become a member of the YouTube channel. It's just $44.99 a month. make sure you become a YouTube member and get all the perks and incentives that come with it. Great stuff. Best bets, and coming up in just a second, right after we hear from Manscaped and Southtown 101. All right, Southtown 101. When you're in San Antonio, Texas, stop in. Great food, drinks, live music, DJs, karaoke, Southtown 101, and manscaped.com. Promo code PubSports, 20% off your purchase of anything on the website using promo code PubSports. And yes, Mr. Fulton, I wish you all the best playing basketball for the first time. Keep me in your prayers. Very good. This kind of sounds like what I'd be saying to people about me playing on the basketball court. So yeah, hopefully you get through that okay playing tonight. You're right. It would be an adjustment for me as well. Not exactly fluid on the court, but nevertheless, I wish you all the best. That's put fluid on the mic, not on the basketball court. Betting it, yes. Playing it, not so much. All right, best bets. Hopefully I'm fluid betting it tonight because best bets have picked up. We've had a nice week with the best bets here on the show. Let's see if we can keep it going here tonight. Skee, we'll start with you. What do you like for best bet?
Yeah, best bet for tonight, I'll go to the game we just finished with. And I told you, Chicago's lost 9 of the last 10 first half. Golden State's won 4 of the last 5 at the house, and that was on the road for Chicago. So best bet, we're going Warriors first half, minus the 4 or minus the 4.5 is good money.
All right, there we go. Golden State first half against Chicago. Best bet for Skee Profit for this Friday. Billy Briz, what do you got for best bet?
Yeah, make sure you hit that like button and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Best spot on the card for me tonight. We're going to go to the Mile High. Wouldn't be right if it was Friday and we didn't go to the Mile High. Actually, it's in Atlanta, but we're going to take the Nuggets minus 3.5. 3 props that I like for tonight. Joel Embiid over 4.5 assists. Siakam over on his points, rebounds, and assists. And Jalen Green under points, rebounds, and assists. And you can parlay those 3 up. Get yourself some plus money. Good luck tonight.
All right, there we go. Best bet for Billy Briz there. Yeah, Mile High City by way of Atlanta. That's the way Bruce Buffer always introduces the fighters that are transplants. So there you go. By way of Atlanta, Denver Nuggets here in that game. Billy Briz looking at that game for best bet. My best bet here for this Friday slate. Hopefully we get something close to similar or as easy as Cleveland. Maybe not so, but hopefully another win in the book here with best bet tonight. And I'm going to end up going with for best bet New Orleans minus 7 against San Antonio. I don't mind laying the 7 in this spot. They already destroyed San Antonio once. They're just they're just not catching up with how bad things are for the San Antonio Spurs right now. I don't know how they're going to contain Zion in that paint area. It's not even a great front court as it is. Plus, they've had Pirtle banged up the last few games. So Pelicans roll, in my opinion. We're going to go with them minus 7 against the Spurs for best bet here for this Friday card. That'll wrap up this edition of the NBA Pub Hub and the week. Thanks to everyone for joining us. We'll be back on Monday, OG Monday, me, Skee, Dutch, and Wham. Make sure you join us on Monday, 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific for a brand new week of the NBA Pub Hub. For Billy Briz and Skee Profit, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Friday night, a great weekend. Cash some tickets, and we'll be back on Monday for a new week of the NBA Pub Hub right here, Pub Sports Radio.